Well, it certainly seems like leak season here on the internet, and we have one from a deleted Reddit post that goes over everything about the Xbox 2, the two versions of Microsoft's next-gen system, the Anaconda, the big boy, and the Lockhart. But more than that, they also detail what studios Microsoft is currently in negotiations with, and also give us the specs to the PlayStation 5 and the price points. Pretty amazing, right? Too good to be true. How fake is this thing? Or is there some kernel of truth hidden within? We're going to talk about that right now. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And if you enjoyed this video by the end, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you're new. It helps out the channel a lot, and I would greatly appreciate it. Now, originally I wasn't going to cover this leak at all, mainly because I felt most of the information in here seemed very much like wishful thinking or an Xbox fan's wish list of things that he would like to see. And I felt that Dealer Gaming actually had a good rundown of what could be true or might not be true on the tech side. As you guys know, I'm not very much into tech, but a lot of you guys still hit me up in DMs asking to hear my opinion about this. So I figured, why not make a video? Now, we're going to start with the Microsoft Studio acquisitions and work our way into the hardware. And this person, on the deleted post on Reddit, I'll throw the screenshot up here so you guys can see it for yourself, although I can't really link it because, well, it's deleted. But he goes on to say that Microsoft Studios is in talks to potentially acquire a whole bunch of studios. Asbo Studio is currently making like Plague's Innocence, a game that's supposed to be coming out this year, and they haven't really done much previously to hang their hat on, like Fuel and like Connect, Disneyland Adventures and Pixar Rush. IO Interactive, Platinum Games is like, really? Turtle Rock Studios, Blue Point Games, Relic Entertainment, and the Farm 51. Now, my eyebrow did raise a little bit when I saw Blue Point Games in that little listing, because I have heard that Microsoft was in talks with them or is in talks with them. And I remember Kloberl tweeting out a while back that Team Xbox was talking to a developer who had some ties to PlayStation. Blue Point Games' last remake was Shadow of the Colossus. But a lot of this other stuff really does read like fan fiction. IO Interactive, yes, Kloberl said they're in consideration, but not really in negotiations. We know that they're seeing a little bit of financial trouble. Hitman 2 doesn't seem to be setting the world on fire, but they did just open up a second studio. Platinum Games, of all the studios possibly to be listed here, I did not expect the makers of the canceled Scalebound to be listed. I mean, I don't know. I understand things went wrong with Scalebound, and you never really see Microsoft executives like Phil Spencer talk bad about Platinum Games, and you haven't really seen Kamiya or anybody at Platinum Games talk smack against Xbox. I think it was a failing on both sides. So it's pretty interesting to see that this one, or at least he thinks, they're in negotiations with Platinum. I don't think that's true. Turtle Rock Studios, Relic Entertainment did Warhammer, the Farm 51. They haven't really done much either. So it just kind of reads like, you know, if you're reading through the Reset Era threads, the Microsoft Studio threads, a lot of these are guesses thrown out there by random users to try to predict what studios Microsoft might buy, and it just seems like someone just wrote down and collected all the rumors that were floating around. But there's a little bit more than that, because he says, and a few more studios from UK, France, Germany, Poland, Ukraine, Finland, Canada, Japan, and Korea. Microsoft wants great talents and diversity around the world. They don't have a target number or something like that. I mean, how many countries does he mention here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Microsoft's looking at studios in 9 different countries. Look, I know Microsoft is looking for more studios to create more games for next-gen Xbox, for xCloud, for Game Pass. It's one of the reasons they purchased 6 new studios this past year. They built a new one in the initiative. They understand that they're lacking content, and content is king. It's going to help sell these services that they want to put on mobile phones and stuff like that. But I just have a hard time believing that they're in talks with all these studios, and then all these studios across the world where Microsoft doesn't have a foothold, right? There's no Microsoft studios in Ukraine or Korea or Germany that I know of, right? Microsoft's, at least what it seems recently, to maybe centralize or get a whole bunch of studios together in one area where they can share tech easy, where Phil Spencer and team and Matt Booty could visit and, go around and visit all the different studios in one. That's why you see a lot of studios in the UK. There's a lot of studios in California. So when I read, they're also talking to studios in Poland and Finland, I just kind of I'm not really sure about that. But it reads good as a wish list, to get Xbox fans excited about the future, because quite honestly, there hasn't been much to get excited about this generation. You read that and you're like, all right, maybe Microsoft really is doing something there. Now, I did mention in my Xbox 2019 prediction video that I felt that Microsoft would announce they acquired more studios at E3 2019. I'm just not sure any of those studios listed by this guy would show up in that. But I fully expect Microsoft to continue their investment in gaming, as that's now seen as a priority at Microsoft, which is pretty damn awesome. Now, moving on to the spec stuff, which is all very interesting, but also all very, I don't know, man, some stuff here might be right, like the CPU and the GPUs, teraflops might be wrong. Certainly, I think the price is wrong on one of these things. Now, he has listed here the next Xbox streaming, and in parentheses, the Lockhart, at $249. $249, I think, is a ridiculous price point, because I don't think, reading here through the specs, that what they're going to be offering, because it's not just the custom 8 cores, the 16 threads, Zen 2 CPU, or the custom Navi at 4 teraflops, or the 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory it's going to have, but also a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD at 1+ gigabytes per second with DirectX ray tracing. That just seems like a whole hell of a lot to get for $250 when he has this titled as a streaming system, which, if it's a streaming system, it certainly doesn't need all of these things. I would expect the streaming system to come in at around $100 to $150. Definitely not what it has here. Yes, we know there is 2 next-gen Xbox systems, the Anaconda and the Lockhart, but judging from the rumors, they're traditional consoles. The streaming console, which may or may not be true, we don't know if that's actually going to happen. We do know they have prototypes at Microsoft for it, but we don't know if they're actually going to release them. That's not codename Lockhart. So already the warning signs are flashing up for me. That this person maybe not knowing what he's talking about. But however, one thing did raise my eyebrows a little bit, because it is something I heard about the Lockhart system, and that is when I originally had been told about the code names Anaconda and Lockhart, the person also told me that Lockhart currently had less teraflops than the Xbox One X. Now the X has 6 teraflops. So when I did see that this person had speculated or leaked, or whatever you want to call this wish list, that the GPU was going to have 4 teraflops, I immediately kind of looked at it and thought, does he know something or what? Because I haven't seen anybody else come out and say that they expect the cheaper of the Xbox next-gen systems to have less teraflops than the X. So that immediately I looked at that and I'm like, that could be interesting. Maybe he knows what he's talking about, but calling it a streaming system, I can't imagine it coming in at $249. But then, of course, you have the Big Daddy, the Anaconda, the next Xbox X, right? He has it listed at $500. It's got a custom 8-core, 16-thread Zen 2 CPU, a custom Navi at 12 teraflops, so that's an 8 teraflop jump in power from this streaming Lockhart to the Anaconda. It's got 16 gigs of memory, GDDR6, 4 extra over the Lockhart, a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive, and DirectX ray tracing. Like, look, the idea of a console having a 1 terabyte SSD would be phenomenal, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Anaconda, the premium Xbox 2, would have that. But to see the big jump, 8 teraflops difference, 4 more gigabytes of memory, all for just like, what, $250 more, essentially, right? Would that be the price? That seems to be too good to be true, almost, right? And he goes on to say both consoles will launch in holiday 2020. The next Xbox XDK will start rolling out in April, May of 2019. Both consoles will have heavily customized CPU and GPUs, and both will support ray tracing with DXR. I know about some pretty crazy customizations and implementations. You will start to see these things around GDC. The next Xbox will also have fully BC with Xbox One, and they will continue with 360 and the OG, all generations in one console. Of course, you don't really need to be a Nostradamus to predict that the Xbox 2 is going to be backwards compat with the Xbox One and the 360 and the OG. That's kind of one of the things that you know for sure is going to happen. Like, they made that promise about, hey, you can invest in the Xbox ecosystem and your games will continue forward. But for a little bonus thing, he also gave the specs for the PlayStation 5, and wouldn't you know, it sits at $399, so right in between the Anaconda and Lockhart. It also has a custom 8-core 16-thread Zen 2 CPU. It has a custom Navi at 8 teraflops, 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, and a 1 terabyte SSD for storage. So, it's significantly weaker than the Anaconda system, featuring 4 teraflops left of power, but also significantly more powerful than the Lockhart, with 4 teraflops more power, with only $150 in price, separating the two. So, I don't know. When I originally saw this stuff, I thought it's just a wish list. There were a couple things in here that caught my eye that I thought maybe he might know more than he letting on, but I'm not sure, because when you see the specs for the Anaconda and the Lockhart, it's very much like the best that you could possibly imagine, right? The Anaconda doing all this work at $500, 12 teraflops, 16 gigs of RAM, and then you see the PS5 at $100 less at $400, but 4 teraflops less. And then you have the Lockhart at $250 with 4 teraflops less than the PS5, and it's like, that's a really good price point, but for all the stuff he talks about being in there, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no way you're getting all the things in that Lockhart at that price point. So, for the most part, I think this is a fake Reddit leak. I think it's just a wish list, and I think this person was looking for attention, which obviously I'm giving it to him, making this video. But I just wanted to, give my thoughts, because a lot of you are asking me what I thought about all the information presented here. Anyways, guys, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. When the official specs drop for Xbox or PlayStation, I'll be sure to cover them. That's why you guys should hit the sub button. Not only get information about next gen, but also the current gen, the games that are coming out. We got Resident Evil 2 coming out soon. I'll have a review. Kingdom Hearts. Finally get into more game talk, as new games are starting to release. This is what I live for. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Share this out on social media like Twitter and Facebook. Tell a friend about me. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that sub button if you're new to the channel. And the little bell icon next to that sub button is the notification bell. If you hit that, you'll instantly be notified whenever I drop new videos, which I do quite often. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.